2024 has given us so much, and it's only February. And 2024 has like concreted itself to be the year of evolution, the year of exposure, and the year of no more fake ass friends. I have tried to shoot this video 4 times. I have attempted to record in a completely different place. I have attempted to do solely audio. I have attempted to do it on my phone. And I am convinced that something out there, maybe the terrible ass people that I'm going to be talking about in this video, are attempting to try to prevent this video from being a thing. But the year started off with Cat Williams, my B-Day twin, who decided to really stand on what he has been about this entire time and really call out the people that had him completely screwed up in the ways that none of us really saw coming, but we knew he had the potential to do. And he did it so beautifully because it was calm. And for years, everyone had been telling him that he was overdramatic, that he was doing too much, that he needs to get over it, he needs to do whatever. But he sat with Shannon and gave him every reason why he is not the person that you needn't mess with. Because he didn't lie. He's a trickster. That's the spirit that is on him. He's a trickster. So yeah, reading 3,000 books. All right, sure. But in the larger scheme of things, he didn't lie. And no one who had anything to say about what he said was able to come back and say, oh no, he's lying. And we started the year on that note. Coming in at the end of the month, we have Megan Thee Stallion, who, self-professed hottie. You can't make me hate her. She caused all the barbs to be in a tizzy because of his. So much so that majority of these adult people were doxing other adults for a person they've never met before and will probably never ever meet. Someone who will most likely never be able to bail any of these people out. So yeah, 2024 is the year of return to sender. 2024 is the year that the people that are standing up in their own truths and are fighting back after being silenced are actively returning all of that energy to sender. And let's talk about it. With exposure being the name of the game, and as many of us are lifting the boulders of these dead friendships to find the vermin and everything that was underneath them, we are doing a postmortem. We are really actively choosing to see what happened. And it helps us to really work on ourselves and decide how we want friendships to look going forward. So as we do this postmortem, let's really define and pay attention to the friendships that we did not see breaking, but in a lot of ways we didn't see coming. As someone who holds my Black friendships very closely, especially my Black women friendships very closely, I've also been burned by a few. I've also had to mourn a few. Some people I thought I'd ride out the rest of this life with were secret enemies, and the ride or die aspect of those friendships depended on my demise. So what do you do when a friendship turns hateful? Here are some things that I've discovered. There's no honest growth. If we're lucky, we all age. And with age, hopefully, comes growth. And if you have anybody in your circle, anybody in your life that is resentful of any sort of growth that you are doing, that is someone who does not have your best interest at heart, whether it is moving on from a loss or a new job or moving up in your career or moving on from something. If they want you to stay in that place because your growth really highlights what they have not grown from, that's a red flag. Sudden distance. The person you spent all your time with, all of a sudden is nowhere to be found. Now, usually this should come with some sort of communication, some misunderstandings of like, girl, I'm just overwhelmed and I'm peopled out, or I just don't feel like dealing with a whole lot of stuff right now. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the bandwidth. You should be able to have that type of communication, that type of back and forth with somebody that is your friend, right? But if that comes with the expectations of you should know why I'm mad at you. You should know why I'm not talking to you. You should be aware. I shouldn't even have to tell you that I got beef with you. That is a problem. And a lot of us get stuck in that pattern because then we will internalize that and go, yeah, I must not be a great friend because I don't know why this person is mad at me. And now I have to figure that out. But in a lot of ways, you should not be expected, because it's impossible, to read this person's mind. And if they are your friend, they should be able to come to you and go, girl, this thing that you did really pissed me off, or I just don't feel like dealing with anybody right now. I'm in my hermit mode. I am not in a space where I feel like dealing with a whole lot of things and humans. And that should be okay. But if you have a recurring pattern with this person that they just do not offer that communication, another red flag. I got to adjust the mic on this one because this is the one that pisses me off the most. The belittling of any of your accomplishments. I've had friends that have done this to me whenever I put down a boundary or whenever I started to refocus onto stuff that I care about or things that I need to take care of. Now, the things that they benefited from in that moment or in a certain time in life are now your little job, your little car, your little business, your little whatever. Now they've been downsized because it's almost a means to humble you, to make you feel as if like, oh, but this little thing that you got going on right here, fill in the blank, is not as important as me. And I'm going to show you that by making you feel as if it's little. And if somebody does that to you, they have effectively shown their slip, and you need to acknowledge that. Whether it's just internally to go, that's something I need to pay attention to, or you go, what you mean little? Since when is it little? You benefited from it, so now it's little? Yeah. Big old red flag. So when I think back on the majority of these red flags that I brushed off as love, protection, care, support, it really helps me to define what these quote unquote friends looked like. So I'm calling these friends the four cracked out horsemen of bad friendship apocalypse. And with that comes a little bit of a tricky notion because separate from all the bull, these traits are actually positive. These are good character traits that you will want, not only in a friend, but just as a person, a coworker, a stranger. You would want people to fight for you. You will want people to advocate for you. You will want people to uplift you. You will want people to be in your corner. But when it is used to coerce and to control under the guise of friendship, sisterhood, family, that is when you have a recipe for disaster. So let's get into it. Number one, the fixer friend. The fixer friend demands to be on the front lines of your suffering with outstretched arms, demanding that you fall into them. They always have advice, oftentimes unsolicited, and it is required for your friendship to last, to be durable, that you follow their advice to a T. They've given up so much for you. Again, something you did not ask them to do. And they are consistently reminding you of everything they have sacrificed for your happiness. That often bubbles into resentment. And then all of a sudden there's a score count of all the things that they have done for you versus what they deem you have not done for them. And if you really keep it a buck, you look back and realize that there was a little bit of joy, a little bit of glee when you talked about your bad days, when you talked about the hard parts of your life, because it would almost look as if they were happy that you were going through something because they can either come in to try to save the day or they could potentially like you be in that state of disarray because then you're more malleable. They can kind of get their nails, claws, whichever into you a little more easily because you're way more susceptible. You're way more mess withable. They have a weird focus on your problems and they denounce any sort of upward movement or specifically self improvement that you can do on yourself because if you improve yourself, you don't need them anymore. And if you improve yourself, they don't have someone to fix. Number two, the go to war friend. Very similar to the fixer friend, they are first on the front line to defend you, but it's often to your detriment because they defend you against any and everything that they deem is coming up against you. Even if it's just lifing, they're going to somehow, some way make this an us against them type of situation. Again, they are always running to your defense. They will bark at, attack anyone that is coming at you in a way that they don't agree with and that defies how anybody should be approaching you. The frustrating part about that is oftentimes it comes from a place of needing to be needed and having to prove their loyalty to you to really justify being in your life. Again, something that most likely you did not cause. You did not say, you have to prove your things to me in order to be in this space. It's something that they believe within themselves and then try to get you to go along with. And eventually you get used to it. You're like, okay, cool. Like I know this person is going to react this way, whichever. But then you find yourself having to explain away this person's actions or just, oh, they're just really protective. They're just really, they've gone through a lot or they just want to make sure that I'm okay. They just want to, then you are in the middle of those things and you have to be aware of that friend because it's all well and good, kind of, depending on the circumstances, until their weapons are drawn on you because you somehow failed to show up in the ways, again, like the fixer friend, that they have shown up for you. And now you're a casualty to friendship killing friendly fire. So, what about me, friend? This friend ultimately hates any boundaries that you have decided to put up. That backbone that you've just acquired has now made you fake. You are now a fraud. Your friendship and connection that you have with this person is now just you being just like them other bitches. What's so insidious about this friend, because I've been in friendship with all four of these examples, is they will actively pray against you or work against you because you can't leave them wherever you are. They will make sure, however way they can, that you don't leave that job. You don't leave the state. You don't leave your home. You don't leave even the mindset that they've grown accustomed to with you, because that means that they are no longer in the space and in the air that you are in. And they can't have that because what about me? What about everything we've gone through together? What about this world that I've crafted for the two of us, where it's me and you against everybody out there? But it's only in the ways in which I have crafted this world. And you are supposed to play your part. So you not playing your part leaves me where? This very small world that has been built around you is very suffocating. And you've been shoehorned into it because it's not who you are in your totality. It's only who you are with this individual and how they have crafted you to be. And with that comes, again, more resentment. It's like having rubber bands pulled against you, and you're at this heightened state of anxiety and awareness that you don't know when those bands are going to break, when those bands are going to be snapped back against you, and you're left to pick up the pieces from that or deal with the pain of having that snap break everything that you thought was a real friendship. Number 4, the love bomber friend. Now, I wasn't aware that love bombing could exist outside of romantic relationships, but it wasn't until I looked closer at a lot of the friendships that are no longer here that I realized that I had been love bombed in those scenarios. Like, it's very similar to the "What About Me" friend. The love bomber puts you on this pedestal again that you did not ask to be on. And you are the very best thing. You are their special gift. They're the rose underneath the glass bowl. And you are the go-to person. You are the best listener. You are the best support system. You are the best person that is able to do this thing over here. And nobody else can do it like you. And you thinking that, you just out here doing your thing. They have made you or have attempted to make you feel like everything that you have accomplished, your successes, your triumphs, even your just mundane existing in life is because they had their hand in it. They sent up some prayers. They talked to the ancestors. They made sure that they had you covered. And eventually there's guilt that begins to come with that because, like, again, with the 3 prior, they've done so much. They ultimately want you to see yourself through their eyes because they have a way clearer understanding and view of you than you do of yourself. And it matters if there is a little bit of insecurity that you may have because that's something that they can hone in on to be like, oh no, and then just lift you up. And if you ain't going about this thing right, you might actually start to smell your own farts and believe that everything that they ever say about you is correct without ever doing your own inner work and due diligence within yourself to be like, this is cool and all, but something about this feels off. Something about this just feels too much. And the moment that you either step down or fall down from that pedestal, everything that they built around you and for you is a lie. It crumbles. When you turn out to actually be human and be fallible, the facade is broken. Now, acknowledge and note that you had no say in the castles and the monuments that were being built in your honor by this person, but you are now being made to answer for it now being crumbled at their feet. So again, the tricky thing about this is on its own, these things are not inherently bad. It it really it really is determined upon if this is done as a means of coercion, if this is done as a means of control. We talk about, I'm a big anti-MLM person on here. So in those high control capacities and in those high control scenarios, it's usually because someone is being honed in on because of an insecurity or a tragedy, a loss, feeling as if they don't belong in a place. And now you are surrounded by these people that allegedly really care and love you, but in actuality, it's a means to an end. You are a means to an end. So what do you do when the ops was in the group chat the entire time? How do you respond? How do you cope? How do you find a way back to a healthy relationship with yourself and being able to look at friendship again as a healthy space and not a space where you feel like you are being constantly attacked or used for worse or what they deem you're worthy of? Let yourself feel all the emotions. It sucks to have someone, a friend specifically, switch up on you, or you find out that this person was never your friend to begin with. The hardest thing, it's at least for me that I've experienced, is learning that people fake relationship, fake friendship for proximity, for access to me. And what they concocted was something that needed to be pummeled or taken over or broken down and humbled because they deemed me not being worthy of having it. So they must have it. And their way of being able to have it is to get through me. Didn't even know we was fighting, sis. I don't, okay. It can truly give you the spin. So I suggest letting yourself spin. I suggest be mad, be frustrated, be annoyed, be confused, be irritated, be every sort of way that you need to be. Allow yourself that space to both grieve and to mourn. Because you had a vision of who this person was, whether it was a vision that you created and what you believed them to be, or the vision that they convinced you was who they really were. And it fell apart. You have to give yourself the room and the space to grapple with that and not just try to pick up and move forward without dealing with that. Speaking of picking up and moving forward, you need to believe what you just saw, what you just experienced, what you just went through. No amount of they would never do that to me is going to suffice when you actively watch them do that to you. Don't go back on yourself. Don't go back on what you just saw and try to convince yourself that you didn't, because you want to be the good guy, because you want to be the person that is able to move past it and be all sweet and kind and nice and all these things. Don't do that. Speak your truth, absolutely, but don't deny what you just experienced. Don't deny what you just saw. Don't deny yourself from that reality, because, like Mother Maya Angelou told us, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. There's a reason why you saw this. There's a reason why 2024 specifically is exposing your ops. So don't deny it just because that was your homie and you don't want to believe that they could do something like that to you. Acknowledge what it was. Don't be on no mess about you gonna believe what I tell you, you're gonna believe what you see. Believe what you saw. Every time, believe what you saw. And the main thing is growing from what you know now. That may have been bestie, homie, cousin, whoever that took up space in your life. And their absence is going to be something you're going to have to get used to. You're going to think about the good times because hopefully there were many. And just like with any breakup, reminiscing is a normal and actually healthy thing. The part you do not want to do is, again, go backwards and not grow from this, but hope to just push past it and hope that it never happens to you again without learning anything from what just happened. I say this as someone who has gone back to places that were no longer healthy for me, that had shown me that they did not care about me and regretted it. Do not go back. It is a really convoluted exercise in self-betrayal, self-denial, self-sabotage, self-sacrificing to go back solely because that person that you thought would never do that to you is the person that showed up in your life in other ways. It's not smart. It's not healthy. And there's no amount of my bad sis that will suffice that is enough to get back in your good graces. So to close this out, and hopefully you made it to the end of this video, when friends become memories that are still around, it's like a ghost that's messing with your stuff when you're gone, just to show that they know how to get to you. It is overwhelming. Losing a core person in a specific time in your life can be one of the most heartbreaking experiences that us as humans can go through. Learning how to trust people after the fact is a relearning process, so be patient with yourself. Cuss, fuss, cry. Readjust yourself as you settle into this new normal. The most important thing, do some work on yourself so that you can fill in any gaps that you are missing and refusing to see the red flags or going along with these things because they made your ego feel good or whatever ways that are really apparent to you now. So you don't do this intentionally or not to someone else. You don't want to go out as the bad guy. You don't want to be the hurt person going around hurting people. Dealing with people, friendships in particular, especially the ending of friendships, is a delightfully annoying construct because people are going to people. They just are. We can't get around that. So while you are recovering, while you are working through how to navigate better friendships, now that you realize that a lot of these were trash, it's okay to not know the answers right now. I see us. I admire your growth. I admire what you have survived and that you're continuing to survive. And as we continue to grieve, we are determined to not give up, and we are determined to keep growing. So I salute you, my friend, who made it to the end of this video and are realizing that, ops ain't the end of the world and we can grow and be better for them, well, from them and because of them. So with that, thank you for watching this video. If you like this, share this with a friend. If you made it to the end of this video, drop a purple heart because that's my favorite color. And I will see y'all next time. Next video.